Hi! Sometimes you just have to laugh at yourself. Years ago, I came up with a way to use my Stamparatus, the stamp positioning tool, to die cut first and then stamp. And I have to admit, it was a little bit labor intensive, but still worth it in the long run. Well, now I have found a better way to do that, and that's what I'm going to do is share my Stamparatus tip with you today. I'll be using the gorgeous new True Beauty stamp set and the coordinating organic dies to share this Stamparatus tip. I'm Shelley Godby, the owner and CEO of Stamping Smiles, and for 21 years, I've been teaching others how to create their own hand-stamped smiles. So stick it around the end because I'm going to show you 3 different versions of the clean and simple card I used with the True Beauty bundle. Here's a closer view of the gorgeous True Beauty stamp set. I dare say this is my favorite bundle in the 2022-2023 Stampin' Up! Catalog. It has 2 features that I am crazy about. First, the watercolor look. I love that. And second, it's a distinctive stamp set. Distinctive? Well, that's Stampin' Up's patent pending process to give you a lot of depth and shading. Look at that. So these aren't printed poorly. You will get that shading with 1 inking. Love it. And then to make it even better, they're coordinating dies, the organic beauty dies. Look at that. So you've got all these open dies to die cut all the images, plus some nice detail. And then look at that background. Can hardly wait to use that. So I'm going to use this flower to demonstrate this technique with the Stamparatus. It's going to make it so easy, save you a lot of time when doing multiples of die cutting. So let me grab my Stamparatus. So I've got my Stamparatus, and we're going to start with what's called a sandwich. We're going to build up the appropriate thickness to die cut with the thin metal dies. So we'll start with plate number 1, and the directions here are for cutting with the thin metal dies. All right, and so then next, instead of a plate number 3, a cutting plate, I'm going to use the new number 5, the magnetic plate. So thrilled with this. So you die cut on the side, the self-healing matte side with the number. So that will replace your cutting plate. The directions that come with it, they're not right. So just follow the directions for cutting with a thin metal die and think of this as your bottom cutting plate because that's exactly what it is. So next I have some basic white cardstock and I'm going to make a template out of this. And so then I need my die from the True Beauty dies. Okay, and I'm going to put that in the center, and then I'll finish like I would with the step directions for die cutting the thin metal dies, a plate number 3. So all we did was replace the bottom cutting pad with a magnetic platform. And, you know, we had one before. It didn't end up working out. They made this stiff, and I've used it a good bit and I'm loving it, and I hope it continues for a long time because I'm crazy about it. I'm die cutting really well. So now we have our die cut image, and I went ahead and die cut a couple more ahead of time because I may not get it perfect the first time, and so I've got a couple more to show you how to line it up super easy. So next we're back to the Stamparatus. So I've got my Stamparatus stamp positioning tool. So the first thing we're going to do is remove the magnets that are stored on the back. Isn't that nice? Out of your way. Now, they are stored separate from each other on purpose. They are super strong magnets. They call them super magnets. If you let them get together, they will break. So you don't want to do that. Keep them separate at all times. All right. And so then I'll flip this over. And when you get a Stamparatus, you get 2 of these. I did a video earlier in the month where I use both plates and both sides. Pretty cool. I'll have a link to it under the video. All right, so typically when you use the Stamparatus, if you're using red rubber stamps like this, you do right on the grid. If not, it comes with a foam mat. That makes up the difference for the clear stamps, the photopolymer. And I'm going to come down here. So the grid is nice because typically, like I said, what you'd be doing is using the same piece of paper over and over. All right, and so you need to remember where you put it, and the grid helps you do that. And the foam mat covers that up, so there's an optional purchase of the deluxe foam mat. Highly recommend it. It makes up, you know, it's that foam, but it has the grid on top for you to use. So normally, like I said, the standard is to place it right where you want it. It's like, oh, that's right where I want it. I close this, and this becomes my clear mount for all practical purposes. And I'm going to use the Orchid Oasis Classic Stampin' Pad, one of the 2022-2024 in colors. Gorgeous. All of them are this year. All right, so I'm going to pick that up and slide it in. And one of my sweet downline noticed something I didn't think about. They open so much easier right away. Where before when I got new pads, I would take some Vaseline and put some in the track on a Q-tip. Didn't need to with these. All right, so I get that all good and inked. I come over here and stamp. Voila. So if I were making a whole bunch and I wanted it right there, I would remember where I put it and just keep switching out the pieces. But this time we're going to use that template I made. All right. And we're going to place it on there. So I came down on purpose to give me room to rotate, because I have found out that I tend to stamp differently than I die cut. Okay, so look at that. So that's holding in place, and we want to hold this in place. I'm just going to scoot this, letting it click close to the other one. All right, and secure it. So they're secured. Love this. And so this is the piece that we just die cut. And, oh, there we go. And it just fits right in there. I never moved anything. And so if I centered it around there well, this will line up. If not, well, I'll fool around with it because I cut those extra pieces until I get it. So whoops. Well, good thing it falls right back where it belongs. And, oh, perfect. Look at that. I can tell you it doesn't always happen that way. I might have to do a little bit of adjusting. That's why I did some extras. But how cool is that? Where before, I really was making it difficult. I didn't have the piece underneath me. I kept moving the stamp. Anyway, so this tip is going to save you a lot of time. So let me put this aside, and then I'll show you the clean and simple card I have with it and two other versions, and you can tell me which one you like best. So I use the same technique with the Stamparatus for the leaves too, and they're a very clean and simple card. And just because, well, it's part of the True Beauty stamp set, and that's on vellum. And so I cut it with my paper trimmer, and then the tips, I just use my paper snip. And so what I have here, look at that little bit around there, the stitching, well, that's from the Stitched Rectangles dies. So I had that all made, and then another Stampin' Up! Order came. Like, ooh, I got the new decal rectangle. Is that the name of them? Let me double check. Yep, deckled rectangles dies. And so you've got that edge. Like, well, I've got to try that now. And so I did. I like, so let's compare the two. So you have the straight lines with the stitching or that deckled edge. Then I thought, well, what if it was just a little bit bigger? And so I went larger. There we go. So still with the deckled rectangles, so clean straight lines, a little bit of a torn look, but very, very controlled. And so small like that or the larger. So you have to leave a comment below to tell me which one you like best out of them. I'm having a hard time picking. I'd be happy if any of these showed up in my mailbox. I just love clean and simple cards. If you'd like to make my clean and simple True Beauty card, all the supplies are listed below the video and available to order now in my online store, www.shopwithshelly.com. And if you enjoyed my Stamparatus tip, well, I invite you to subscribe to the Stampers Insider. It's your free stamping source for inspiration, information, and ideas. Just go now to www.thestampersinsider.com to subscribe. I'm Shelley Godby, teaching you how to create hand stamped smiles. Thanks for watching.